What is up, everybody? It's your boy Footy, back with episode 4 of the Footy Foster podcast. Very excited for today's episode. Excuse me, just closing my door here. Make sure no furry creatures hop in and disturb anything. But I'm very excited for today's episode. My interview this week is Ryan Edward Fortune. You can find him on YouTube. He has a fantastic YouTube channel. He's been to, he's been to several U.S. World Cup qualifying games. First video was 7 months ago and just posted a video every single time that he's gone to a game. A lot of fun watching his videos. Kind of just stumbled across it after making one of my videos. Follow him on Twitter at @RyanFortune. That's at the number 1 RyanFortune. Really interesting dude. Pretty sure he lives over in Ireland or Scotland. I'm going to say Ireland. But we've interacted a little bit on Twitter here and there. So looking forward to getting to talk to him face to face. Besides that, for my solo bit today, I'm going to talk about the Final Four run for the Tar Heels. I'm going to talk about the Arsenal week in review. And then Adam Snavely of The Athletic wrote a pretty great article regarding the United States men's national team that was not taken too well by a lot of U.S. fans. So we'll go ahead and get into it a little bit here. Let's talk about the Tar Heels first and foremost. Goodness gracious, what a run. What a lot of emotions I felt watching this team all throughout the month of March. And I'm pretty sure that I've said before, I've followed North Carolina basketball my entire life. I haven't really watched a ton of college basketball this year. I watched a handful of their games. I watched both Duke games and then the entire March Madness run. Just don't feel the same about college basketball that I used to. But with that being said, there's something special about the tournament, especially when your team is playing well, playing at a high level. I honestly, I'm pretty sure, again, I said this, I expected them to lose their very first game against Marquette. They went on to beat Duke last Saturday in the Final Four, and potentially the biggest college basketball game of all time. That does include this year's championship game. Both teams played very, very well. Carolina just edged out Duke at the end of the game. It literally could have gone either way. The decisive moment was Caleb Love's huge three with under 30 seconds to go. They ultimately did lose to Kansas in the championship game last Monday night. Bit of a soul crusher, especially being up 15 at halftime. Going back to the Baylor game in this tournament run, Carolina was up by like 25-26. Brady Manick picks up a flagrant 2. He's out for the rest of the game. And it kind of crumbled from there. They lost that lead. Baylor came back, tied the game, went to overtime. So that was in the back of my head watching the game. I was like, okay, they've literally been here before. They just got to withstand the storm. They were unable to do so. So kudos to Kansas. It was such a good basketball game. The Final Four was incredible. I didn't really get to see too much of the Kansas-Villanova Final Four game. I was working out during that time, but I was kind of checking in on my phone here and there while I was up there on the treadmill. Hubert Davis, I spoke your praise last week. I'm going to say it again today. My man, you were an incredible coach. You were going to accomplish big things at North Carolina. You're a Tar Heel through and through, always have been, and there's no one else that I would rather have coaching this team than Hubert Davis. That man's got a bright future. He's a basketball man through and through. I think he's going to be a pretty good recruiter. Just very, very pleased with how things went for the Tar Heels, despite not being able to win it all. And that being said, if everybody comes back, we're obviously going to lose Leaky Black and Brady Manick. But if everybody else comes back, which I believe they should, RJ Davis, Caleb Love, and Armando Bacot, those three in particular, next year should be pretty promising for the Tar Heels. And last time Carolina lost in a championship game, they came back and won it all the very next year. So that's a good omen. Don't want to get too ahead of ourselves there, but the future is bright for Carolina basketball, and that is very exciting. So let's go ahead and talk about this week for Arsenal. So again, soul crushing. Monday was a tough day for me sports wise. Arsenal lost to Crystal Palace on Monday afternoon, Monday evening over there in London, I suppose. And then Carolina lost that night. Totally awful sports day for me, but that's okay. Patrick Vieira got the best out of us. Lost 3-0. Didn't really look like ourselves. Tierney's out. Partey picked up an injury. Just a sloppy, bad performance. First game coming back from the international break. I don't have the answers. I wish I did. Not having Kieran Tierney for the rest of the season is clearly an issue. Having to move Xhaka to left back is clearly an issue. Not having Partey is clearly an issue. And those are things to address this summer in the transfer window. We need depth at both of those positions, especially in the midfield. Midfielders and defenders are very susceptible to picking up yellow cards, which means they get suspended. They're susceptible to picking up injuries, which means they can't play. You've got to be able to bring somebody who is of decent quality to fill in their shoes. And that is clearly an issue right now. I've been on a lot of Arsenal fans on Twitter have been criticizing the team and the club for not picking up more depth in the January transfer window. I understand their frustrations, but I'm on the side of saying, like, hey, we only have one competition we're playing in the rest of the season. I know it's still a lot of games, but let's not waste that money and make a hasty signing. We were looking at picking up a striker, but now it looks like we need a backup midfielder or left back in addition to a striker. So maybe we should have picked somebody up in January. I'm not going to say for sure. I mean, the injury to Tierney was unforeseeable. He had been pretty rock solid prior to picking up this injury while he was on international duty for Scotland. But here we are. So depth issues definitely an issue for us right now. And then yesterday against Brighton, Saturday against Brighton, another frustrating performance, another frustrating result. I'm never going to criticize fans because they're not the ones out on the game playing, they're not the ones out on the field playing the game. But with that being said, there was no energy in the Emirates until the 85th minute. Whenever it was that Odegaard scored that goal to make it 2-1, that was the only time in the game that I felt any energy from the crowd. And I've never played at that kind of a level before. I've only played high school and pickup. But I can only imagine being on that field, hearing the roar of the crowd at any given moment is just going to fill you with energy subconsciously or consciously. And that's a thing. Like, in this second half of the season since January, when things have really started heating up, it felt like the Emirates was always really loud and rocking. And when that's not the case, the players' energy level seems to drop. So I really thought after Odegaard made it 2-1, I thought we were going to get an equalizer, at least get a point out of the game. It didn't happen. So 2 games in the span of 6 days, 0 points. 5-1 aggregate losses. Definitely tough considering the fact that West Ham and United both dropped points and Tottenham won yesterday, which was Saturday. So our chance at getting top 4 is slowly slipping away. And comparing our fixtures to Tottenham's the rest of the way, Tottenham does have to play Liverpool. We have to play Chelsea and Man U, and then we both play each other. So, to me, it's really going to come down to the winner of the North London Derby, if there is a winner. I'll back whoever wins that match to finish in top 4. And even if Arsenal doesn't finish top 4, finishing 5th and getting back into the Europa League at the least would be huge. Absolutely massive, considering the state of the club over the past 2 years. Considering the age of the starting squad this year, all of our best players are under the age of 24. So, tough week. I'm not going to get too down about it. But I really, really like our chances to at least finish top 5. I think finishing ahead of United and West Ham is pretty foreseeable. Especially West Ham have just been slipping and sliding. They've played 30. They've got 6 games left. We've got 3 points on them. So we've got 2 games on them, 1 game on United with a 3-point lead on both. At the start of the season, most people would have backed United to be top 4 easily, and Arsenal in that 7th, 8th, 9th spot where United could end up. Well, probably not 9th. They've got 11 points on Leicester, but Wolves are right behind them, and Wolves are very solid defensively. 4th best defensive team in the Premier League. They don't score a ton of goals, but defense is the backbone of a team. So should be an exciting race to the finish line at the end of May. Really looking forward to it. So come on, you Gunners. So this last little segment, I do want to speak on the article that Adam Snavely wrote for The Athletic earlier in the week. It came out on April 6th. It's titled, "Don't Like How the United States Men's National Team Got Back to the World Cup? Then don't follow, but you're missing something." So, and I know I'm going to go against the grain of a lot of these United States Men's National Team followers on Twitter, but he was kind of taking a shot at some supporters. Because after we lost to Costa Rica, but still ended up qualifying, a lot of people were upset. We should have beaten Costa Rica. Blah, blah, blah. Greg Berhalter's a terrible coach. Blah, blah. Who cares? You know the history. We suck in Costa Rica. We have historically never played well in Costa Rica. Last time we played there, we lost 4-0. Costa Rica is a good team. They gave us troubles in Columbus. They put a goal on us 2 minutes into the game. We came back and won that game. They're mad because we came in 3rd and qualifying in CONCACAF. What does it matter? It doesn't matter if you finish 1st or 3rd. We're still in the same pot we would have been. We more than likely would have ended up in the exact same group that we have for the World Cup this coming fall. What does it matter? He just makes the point that a lot of these fans on Twitter seem very unhappy following this team. And that's not the point of sports. Sports is supposed to you're supposed to be happy and enjoy it. You watch it because you like it. You don't watch it to get all pissed off about it and go tweet up a storm and criticize everybody on Twitter. Criticism's okay. But blind negative criticism just for the sake of getting something off of your chest that probably doesn't have anything to do with the sport in and of itself. Like, dude, you're not doing yourself any favors. You're just getting pissed for no reason. 5 years ago, nearly 5 years ago, this team completely missed out on the World Cup. Now, 5 years later, we are the 3rd youngest national team in the world. The 2 younger teams are the British Virgin Islands and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Then there's us, Puerto Rico, Cayman Islands, and the Bahamas. Our average age is 24.3 years old. 24 years old. Yes, I know that we have a ton of players playing in Europe, playing in the top 5 leagues. But if you do a deeper dive, those guys aren't playing the minutes that you'd see for like teams like Spain, England, Portugal, Germany, Italy, France. the teams that all of these guys on Twitter think that we should be comparing ourselves to. We're not there yet. We can be, we will be, but we are not there yet. Soon, not yet. That's the thing. A little deeper, the XG numbers for CONCACAF qualifying. The United States had the highest XG at 23.29. We had the lowest expected goals against at 9.79. Highest XG difference of 13.5. We were a little unlucky. We gave up 10 goals to the expected 9.79. We scored 21 to the expected 23.29. A little unlucky. But again, these guys are so young and they're inexperienced in World Cup qualifying. They're inexperienced in international play. So you can get mad all you want, but you're not having fun watching this young group of guys just ball out. Because that's what they're doing. Just have fun. Don't let sports ruin your day. Don't let it ruin your life. Like, yeah, feel the highs, feel the lows, but at the end of the day, it's not really your life. It's their life. You're not the one out on the field bleeding, sweating, and crying. And getting your heart rate up to 200 beats per second, sprinting up and down the field for 90 minutes. You're not the one doing that. You're sitting behind your computer. You're sitting on your sofa watching. You're not on the touchline coaching. You're sitting down on your ass watching and just firing off tweets. Greg doesn't know what he's doing. Well, I would have made this pass. I would have made that. Just stop. Just stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Just enjoy. If you don't enjoy it, don't watch it. Don't tweet about it. Don't talk about it. If you don't enjoy it, then what's the point? So, Adam, great article. I don't subscribe to The Athletic. It was free for me to read, though. So, Adam, I don't know if that was your doing, but I certainly appreciate it. That was fantastic. It was a great read. Really great read. And I know you're gonna catch some hate on Twitter for it. You already have for sure. Ignore them. Keep doing your thing. Great article. You're a great writer. Loved it. All right, that's it for me. I'm about to go interview Ryan. I'm very excited to speak to him face to face, as I said. Well, through Zoom, but I'm very excited to speak to him. We're going to talk about his experiences going to the games. We're going to talk a little bit about the Liverpool Man City game that just took place, literally just finished up like 30 minutes ago. He's a Tottenham fan. I'm an Arsenal fan. We're going to talk a little bit about the top 4 race and just maybe get into some banter a little bit, some friendly banter. So, guys, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the interview with Ryan. And, yeah. Come on, you Gunners. All right. What's up, everybody? Today, we have Ryan Edward Fortune. Is it Fortune or Fortune? Is it
Fortune, like the
Fortune.
magazine? You know, we're all all the money. You know what I'm saying, man? That's what we're all trying to get here, anyways.
Amen.
I don't know if that YouTube lifestyle lends it for us, but we can try, anyways. We can try our best.
I honestly think you're gonna get there eventually. Your videos are great. So for those of you who don't know, Ryan has an incredible YouTube channel. I can't remember exactly how I stumbled upon your YouTube channel. I think it was just kind of suggested to me after I posted my first video of going to a US qualifying game. But yeah, so you've been to several, would you go to almost every away game that we had?
Yeah. First shout out yourself, Footy, great guy. You're like a day one supporter of the channel, so I got a lot of time for you, man. But yeah. So yeah, I tried to go to all the away games. I only missed one, which was Honduras, which of course was the one game where we actually played good, where we actually won. So I don't know, but I've been getting some comments, some kids chirping me in my comment section, being like, "Oh, you're the reason we're taking L's everywhere we go." But I don't know, it's I try my best, but yeah. So went to every single away besides Honduras.
Nice. And then you also went to 2 US Mexico games. You went to the one in Cincinnati, and then obviously you went to the one down there in Mexico City. Very jealous, man.
Yeah, I mean the Cincinnati one, fantastic experience. I had some wild stories with that actually. So funny enough, so I'm wearing like this Berhalter in t-shirt that I made because you all hear this rhetoric on Twitter like, oh, Berhalter out. It's been going on for a while. To be
For a
honest, I
long
flip-flop
time.
a bit. Yeah. I was like flip-flopping. Sometimes I was like, okay. I mean, after he won the two trophies, I know people are like quick to dismiss that, but it's not like we win a lot of trophies. So I was impressed by that.
Right.
But yeah, at the time we were doing really well. So I was like, Berhalter in. So I'm wearing this Berhalter in t-shirt, and like, most people are just kind of giving me abuse for it. Some people were being nice, whatever. Game finishes, and this group of guys come up behind me and they're like, oh, hey, like, can we take a photo with you in your shirt? I'm like, yeah, cool. All right. And then one of the guys in the group is like, hey, do you know who this other guy is? He points at this like youngish guy, and I'm like, I have no idea who that is. He's like, yeah, that's like Berhalter's like kid. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sure it is. Like, yeah, for sure, dude. Like, I totally like blowing them off. Like, but like they're nice guys, and like I take a photo with them, whatever. Like they're cool. So they leave, whatever. I look this guy up. It was Berhalter's kid, like his son. Like, so yeah, I mean, if he's out there, like he plays like professional soccer for like Vancouver Whitecaps. No idea who he was. And yeah, hopefully he showed his dad the shirt, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, that was like my funny moment of that match.
That is hilarious, man. That is kind of crazy. Where do you stand on Berhalter in or out right now?
It's tough because you look and you say, okay, we've qualified, that's great, but I mean that should be the expectation. And now, okay, we had two bad, I think bad enough road performances. Costa Rica one was shocking. Mexico one, people are going to say, okay, yeah, it's Mexico away, but it was not a very hostile crowd. I know afterwards he was trying to make it out like it was some, very dangerous atmosphere that we were in. It was like a friendly atmosphere. It was a very corporate atmosphere. I mean, we should have won the game. You can put that down to maybe our forwards didn't finish the chances, but I thought we've not done enough in the aways. So at the moment, I'm not going to say to take him out now because it's too close to the World Cup, but he's not impressed me, especially in the last since the turn of the new year. He's not impressed me much.
Yeah, I feel you there, and I'm gonna chalk the Costa Rica game up to us kind of getting a little complacent after the 6-0 win against Panama down in Orlando. Um, I mean, I really think you win a game in that fashion, and then like the players know that as long as they don't lose 6-0, we're in, and like 6-0 would be like a very hard result to comprehend. So like I didn't even watch the Costa Rica game. My nerves couldn't handle it. I ended up going to play indoor that night just so I didn't have to sit and watch it and be anxious the entire time. They did have it on, so like I'd be sprinting back on defense, pop my head over, like, oh, okay, what's going on? But other than that, like, yeah,
I
like you
mean, what
said,
I would say, man, is as incomprehensible as a 6-0 loss would have been, when they got the second goal and the place was rocking, I was fully like, we're having a bit of a meltdown here. And it was
yeah,
strange because Costa Rica they got the 2-0 and then they kind of just sat back and they were kind of happy with it, which I thought was very strange. They kind of let us off. I don't know if they really expect I guess they really expect to beat New Zealand, no question, but I don't know. I think we were there to be had. I don't know if they could have gotten six, but I think who knows? There could have been four. I don't know. It was crazy, to be honest.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, like, especially in situations like that, like, just if they would have just had the mentality, just one more, like, then like it's very easy for them that momentum on both sides, like. For us, it could have easily crumbled, and for them, it could have just kept mounting. But they got the job done. So I'm not too upset. Like you said, you've kind of gone back and forth on Greg. I have to some extent too, and I honestly like back. I think it was after probably the Panama game in Panama back in I think it was October. I was very nervous. I was on Twitter way more. I was reading everybody's tweets like Greg out, Greg out, Greg out, and it kind of seeped into my mind. But I've kind of taken a step back and like tried to be a lot more balanced and neutral. And I'm not going to criticize him too much because it is a very tough job, especially considering the fact that you're only with the guys like you know 10 days to 12 days every month or so. But I don't
I
think this
think,
job is going to be his after this World Cup. I'll say that.
well, I don't know. I feel like, I mean, say what you will. I think there's a lot of kind of corruption in US soccer. If we're going to be honest, I think that's one of the main reasons that he got the job. And that's not being disrespectful, but USA can draw a pretty big time manager. I mean, we had Klinsmann in the past, and I think, you look at so many of the managers that were interested around the time, Lopetegui, he was absolutely massive. I mean, there's rumors we could get Bielsa. I mean, some really huge managers in the game. So, not being disrespectful to Greg, but he was not the best one we could have gotten. He's only getting it because, he's in with all the MLS and US soccer guys. That being said, I think that they have, unless we bomb out of the World Cup, I can't see a scenario where they fire him, to be honest.
Mm. Well, yeah, there definitely was a little bit of nepotism in him getting the job in the first place. But the book I've been reading is, I don't have it on hand. It's called "What Happened to the U.S. Men's National Team." Is kind of talking about what happened in Cuba in 2017 and like every single World Cup that we had played in up until that point. The chapter that I'm on right now is about managers in their second World Cup cycle. It's only worked out twice for Kim Lou and for Didier Deschamps. Greg Berhalter is neither of those guys. I like him. He's a North Carolina guy, such as myself, but he's not the top level guy. And I think that's what we're going to need in 2026, because in my eyes, this World Cup cycle right now is about preparing for 2026, because all of our guys are going to be like prime age to accomplish something incredible at the World Cup. So we're
Yeah,
going to need a top level
absolutely.
manager.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have a real chance of winning 2026 for sure. I mean, this is kind of, yeah, it's a building block with this World Cup, but a real chance to win in 2026. So it'd be great if we could get a top manager. But we'll see. I don't know. If I think it's more like if Greg wants to stay in the job almost. I don't. I just said, I don't see a sacking him. I think if Greg does well in the World Cup, who knows? Maybe he gets an offer to manage a foreign club, and that would be very enticing to him. It's one of those.
Yeah. The dude on Twitter, he's a US account tactical manager, said something about like he should go over to England and coach
Yeah, I
over
mean,
there. And he was kind of hinting
uh,
that Jesse Marsh should come over and coach the US.
man, that would be fantastic to get Jesse Marsh. I don't think he's leaving that job anytime soon. He's
No.
doing fantastically well. So
So getting away from that for a little bit and going back to your experiences going to the World Cup qualifiers, what would you say was your favorite experience? What was your favorite place to visit?
I think my favorite place to visit as like a country was Panama. I thought that was fantastic. I mean, there's just so much kind of culture there. I went to this old town with, check out my YouTube videos, you can see it. Like really fantastic, like all this kind of colonial Spanish architecture, really fantastic stuff. I went to the Panama Canal. The nightlife was really good. So I think for me, as in terms of like a trip, Panama was the best. I mean, we lost there, of course, but yeah, that was the best trip. But like in terms of like a stadium experience, I mean, Costa Rica was excellent just there, and then El Salvador was pretty wild. That was totally full. Stadium was kind of in like a proper neighborhood, so like the houses were on top of the stadium. You had everything there. You had like the riot police, and it was just a mad atmosphere in El Salvador. So definitely those kind of stand out for me.
Nice, man. Uh, I have not been to a game in Cincinnati yet. What was the US Mexico game like there?
Oh, I mean, it was fantastic. I mean, everyone was standing the whole time, so everyone was really up for it. I mean, it was freezing cold. I think it was a bit of rain coming down, and it was just the noise was fantastic. It was actually probably the best U.S. game I've probably been to in the U.S. Like, stadium super well built, like with such like a high incline that you're really close to the field. Doesn't matter like where you are. I was in the
Hmm.
second tier, and it felt like you were right on top of the field, and the way that the roof is structured, like the sound just stays inside the stadium. So I mean, it was only like what 25,000 people at that game, but it was loud, man. It was crazy.
I did go to the US Costa Rica game in Columbus and then the US El Salvador game in Columbus. I really wish I would have gotten to the US Mexico game in Cincinnati as well. I feel super blessed that Ohio had 3 World Cup qualifiers this cycle because we're not going to get another World Cup qualifying cycle for another 8 years, 6 8 years, whatever it's going to be. But going to both of those games, I honestly think both of those games, especially the Costa Rica game, were the best sporting events that I've ever been to in my life, and I've been to my fair share across like NFL, Major League Baseball, MLS. I've been to a little bit of everything, and that took the cake for me. It was a similar experience to what you just described down in Cincinnati. It just everyone standing up and chanting and screaming their heads off for the entire 90 minutes. Um, super
What's the
loud.
what's the I've not been to Columbus, so what's the new stadium like? How is it like?
Well, the only thing I really had to compare it to in terms of an actual soccer stadium was the old Mapfre Stadium there in Columbus. That's where I went to my first MLS game. And for comparison's sake, that was I think it was the Crews. It was 2016. It was the Crews' last regular season home game. They were first in the Eastern Conference that year, and that was the year that they went on to lose to Seattle. It was Portland in the final. The stadium was half full. It was like,
Mm.
and that was not a very big stadium. So lower.com stadium is a huge upgrade from Mapfre. It's in a much better location in Columbus if you've ever been there. I honestly like it didn't feel like I was in the United States for 2 hours. It felt like I was transported over to Europe or something, and then leave the stadium. Like the atmosphere leaving was incredible. Just thousands upon thousands of US fans walking down the street together. It was a really, really cool experience. Great stadium. So if you ever get the chance, I would definitely recommend
Yeah,
going.
yeah, not been to Columbus, but yeah, such an iconic, place with all the USA Mexico games having been played there. And yeah, absolutely would love to go. I love these soccer specific stadiums getting built, and yeah, it looks like a fantastic venue. So definitely gotta check that out.
There was yeah, dude. There was a funny instance on Twitter after that night when I got home. Like the local news station in Columbus was interviewing some people outside of the game, and they interviewed a couple of poor souls who had no idea that there was a professional soccer team in Columbus. They were like Columbus doesn't have any professional teams, so like having the World Cup qualifier here for the US was really cool. It's like, oh no. It's like they didn't know that the Crew played there and they didn't know
Y-
that there's an NHL team in
Yeah,
Columbus.
yeah, it's crazy. I think I guess that just shows you like the disconnect between, the fact there's soccer fans in America and then they're not necessarily MLS fans or even aware of MLS really. So it's crazy.
I almost kind of fall into that boat a little bit. I kind of keep up with MLS. I've been, like I said, I've been to a Crew game before, and they had been my MLS team coming into this year. But Charlotte's got a new team, so I'm from North Carolina originally, so like that's who I'm gonna kind of follow from here on out. But it's hard for me to get the same energy and enthusiasm to watch one of those games as it is to watch like an EPL or a Champions League game for whatever
Yeah,
reason.
yeah, I totally get that, dude. So switching from Columbus Crew to Charlotte FC, would you consider switching from Arsenal to Tottenham as clearly one team is in the ascendancy?
Not a chance in hell. Never. No, no way. I'm too deep into it. I've been following Arsenal for almost 10 years now. Probably probably a little bit longer than that. How did you become a Tottenham fan?
It's just for me, I've always just loved the style that they've played. I know they've stepped away from it a bit, but it's just such a fantastic style. It's an attacking style. We even had it back in the day with some of the, Martin Yoles of the world and AVB who got slandered and everything. I love those managers, to be honest. And then with Pochettino, but I guess just as a kid, I went over to London a decent amount as well. And I think Arsenal and Chelsea tickets were always the most expensive tickets because they were always doing better when I was younger, anyways. And so Tottenham tickets were fairly cheap. So I ended up just going to those games, because they were affordable. So
Yeah, yeah, makes sense.
yeah, so that's kind of my origin story with Tottenham Hotspur.
Did you grow up across the pond? I know that you live in
No,
Ireland right now.
yeah, yeah, out here in Ireland, I've got like this painting back here. It came with the apartment. It's I think it's Dublin. I don't really know. But yeah, no, I grew up in New Jersey, Jersey strong and all that. But yeah, I mean, Yeah, been out here in Ireland for on and off 7 years, UK as well. But yeah, massive Tottenham fan. Also, yeah, I do like the New York Red Bulls. You know, growing up in New Jersey, don't really get why they have to be called New York Red Bulls, even though they play in New Jersey. But hey, here we are, and yeah,
I mean, that's how it goes with a lot of those New York teams, like the Giants. They're not really in New York. What is the?
yeah.
I mean, the Nets. I mean, they're Brooklyn now, but I guess they were the New Jersey Nets. So.
Yeah, that ripped my heart out. Not to deviate too much from soccer, but that ripped my heart out, man. When like they sold the team to like Jay-Z and that Russian fella, and they moved it to Brooklyn. And then the thing was they like those guys. I don't even think are involved in it anymore. Well, I don't really follow it anymore. I used to be a big Nets fan, but yeah, they ripped my heart out. So we had to leave them. You know what I'm saying?
You got to do what you got to do. All right. Well, we've kind of talked about Tottenham and Arsenal here for a little bit. Let's go ahead and talk about the fact that our two beloved clubs are in a heated race for the top four. So I've got the table open right here. Obviously, you guys are sitting in fourth, right where you want to be right now. 31 games played, 57 points. Arsenal right behind you with 30 games played and 54 points. Do you expect Tottenham to finish ahead of Arsenal and secure Champions League football for next year?
I mean, I've probably never been more confident of anything in this game more than this. Uh, I think there's such a gap between Tottenham and Arsenal right now. There's no way, there's no scenario you guys finish above us. I'm usually a very level-headed fan, but I would put any amount of money on that. That
Okay.
is that is factual, man. I won't want to like put you down too much. There is no scenario in the world where you guys finish above us. Doesn't even matter if you end up somehow beating us in North London Derby, because I think it'll be done before the North London Derby. At the moment, I mean, you guys don't have anyone that can score, and you need goals to win games.
That's true.
I mean, Lacazette, shocking. I get why you got rid of Aubameyang, because maybe he's a locker room cancer or whatever. They say a lot of things about him. I don't know. I don't follow your team well enough to know that. But I find it strange that you got rid of Aubameyang and didn't really replace him. You've got Lacazette, who can't score, and Kedia is I guess your backup, and he's not very good, and he's leaving in the summer on a free. And I guess you could play someone. You could play like Nicola Pepe or something, but the manager doesn't seem to rate him. So I just don't know where you guys are going to score. And then for us, I mean, we're on unreal form. I mean, I'd say best front three in the league, maybe best front three in the world. That is getting a little bit carried away, but I don't know many others. I really don't know many others that would. I know people are going to say Messi, Neymar, Mbappe, but they don't have the chem like a Kulusevski, man. Looks like he's been playing with Kanan's son for 10 years. It's a madness. Yeah, absolutely love this new fella, Kulusevski. Phenomenal. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you could possibly finish above us, man. I mean, can
Okay.
you tell me how are you going to finish above Spurs? Do you have an argument?
I mean, my only argument is that, I mean, if we this week really set the stage. If we had taken care of business against Palace and Brighton, I'd feel a lot more confident, but we didn't, obviously. Um, the only thing, you guys do have to play Liverpool, but we have to play Chelsea and United. I'm worried about the Chelsea game, not really worried about the United game because United look like a dead fish in the water. Um, you would take Spurs front three over Sane or Mane, Salah, and Jota, or
Oh,
you know,
I absolutely would. I absolutely would. No questions asked. I think
wow.
Salah, I saw today, he fell off, man. I don't know what's wrong with Salah ever since maybe the African Cup of Nations. He lost that. He's come back. He's been very poor in the league, Champions League. And then he went away and had those World Cup qualifiers, and he just does not look. He does not look right at the moment. And then as for the others, Mane, don't get me wrong, is very clinical, but you're not gonna. I would take Son every day over Mane, and then Kane. There's no better number 9 forward in the world than Kane. That's just facts.
Is he staying?
I would say there's no reason for him to leave. If we make Champions League and with this manager, a serious manager, I mean, we could kick on. I don't want to get too carried away, but there's no reason why Tottenham couldn't be competing for the league next year. That's going to get laughed out. but I see no reason why Tottenham could not be in there with Man City and Liverpool next year.
Yeah, I mean, Conte's done it before. That's what he does. Is he wins trophies. So I mean, it does pain me to say Son is one of my absolute favorite players to watch, and it just kills me that he plays for Tottenham. But I love watching him play. It was kind of cool seeing him score a hat trick yesterday, even though I put like a $50 bet on Villa to win at halftime yesterday. Just the way that they were playing before the halftime whistle, I was like, "There's no way they're gonna lose this game." Then they go on to score 3 more in the second half. It was kind of
I mean,
heartbreaking.
bro, I mean, it's a bit like today where I think you just gotta trust in these world class coaches. Like we went in with Tottenham, and Conte, like he got the thing, calmed it down, got the situation right for the second half. And that was a bit like today. You look at Man City was all over Liverpool in that first half, all over them, and then they went in. Klopp got everyone's head together, and Liverpool looked much better in the second half. It was a much more even game in that second half. So I think you got to trust in world class coaching, and I knew Tottenham would get it figured out as long as we survived that first half. That second half, oh, they were looking. They could have scored so many goals in that.
Terrifying. It was.
Yeah.
I think after Sonny completed the hat trick, I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm gonna go work out. I don't. I just don't want to think about this game anymore. This is making me sad. It's gonna ruin my Saturday. But hey, kudos to them. If I'm being objective, I realistically do think Tottenham will finish fourth. I, a lot of Arsenal fans are going to be bitching and moaning, saying that Arteta should be out because we didn't finish top 4, but that was never realistically going to be one of the goals in place for this season. Finishing 5th and getting back to Europe is pretty good, especially considering the age of the squad. So obviously it would be better to be playing in the Champions League, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to be too upset if we're not there. I would like to beat you guys in the North London Derby. What is that? That's on May 12th, so about a month from now. Is that game?
It is at Tottenham, and I think it's one of them fixtures where like neither of our clubs can win away. So I think you've not won at Tottenham in maybe 8 years, 9 years. I just don't see you guys winning that. Not on the form we're on. Under the lights at Tottenham. I mean, you guys melted under the lights at Palace. So I mean, there's no chance you're gonna win that, man. Sorry, like.
It's okay. Well, if anything might help us, it's the fact that you've got to play Liverpool like 5 days before that game's on. It's Thursday, May 12th, as of right now. And you guys are going to catch a fat L against Liverpool. No way you guys win that game. You could maybe get a draw, but not a chance you're going to go to Anfield and get 3 points. So
yeah, we have a terrible record at Anfield, so I would agree that it looks pretty bleak at the moment. But I'm telling you, at the moment, I give us every chance in the world to go there and get results, assuming we can keep up the form. I think our defense is actually very solid. And what I've seen from Liverpool's defense, not just against Man City, because, okay, everyone's going to look bad against Man City, well, except for Tottenham. But Benfica, the match against Benfica, if Benfica had a bit better players, there was goals to be had against Liverpool's defense by Benfica, and they just didn't take the chances. So I think, yeah, Anfield away for Tottenham has been a very bad place to go. Never get results there. But I mean, I give us a half chance. I really do. I give us a half chance. Maybe a draw, as you said. I think a draw is a real possibility with us.
yeah, and that's going to actually be a pretty important game because there is just the point between City and Liverpool after today's match between the two of them. Looking at what both teams have up next, I was one of my friends who like he'll watch soccer every once in a while, but he doesn't like really keep up with it. He knew that City and Liverpool were playing today, and he texted me and he's like, "Hey, like what does this match mean?" I was like, basically, in my opinion, whoever wins is probably going to win the league. The draw certainly keeps things in Man City's favor, especially because the fixtures they have left are Brighton at home, Watford at home, to Leeds, Newcastle at home, at West Ham, Villa at home, and then not on the schedule officially yet, as they have a makeup fixture with Wolves. I'm not sure if that's on the at home or on the road. And then Liverpool have to play United, Everton, Newcastle, Tottenham, Villa, Southampton, and Wolves. So the next 3 games for Liverpool, being, or actually three of the next four, United and then Everton in the Merseyside Derby. Neither of those games are going to be easy. Obviously, Liverpool should beat both of those teams, but those are rivalry games. Anything can kind of happen in those kind of environments, even though they're both going to be at Anfield. Do you back City to finish out and win the title?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, the schedule definitely favors Man City, and I think I just can't see, I really can't see either team dropping many points at all. So, I mean, it could go down to a thing where, okay, if you've got Champions League fixtures coming thick and fast in the middle of the weeks, maybe a surprise result comes. But I think Man City having that point advantage, they could go, win for the most part. And as you said, Liverpool do have a tougher schedule. Like whatever about, okay, Man United has had a poor season. You could say Everton. Well, Everton's had a shocker of a season, but those two teams will be up for playing Liverpool and to ruin their season for sure. Everton, and we now know Everton can kind of go away and get results after what they did to Man United. So I definitely think, yeah, Man City are definitely favored to win now, and I think they will go on and win.
Which obviously I'm not a fan of either team. I would personally rather see Liverpool win the title than Man City, just because like the financial backing and everything. I know they're both owned by very wealthy men and they can just kind of freely spend money however they see fit. But I do like the way that Liverpool kind of operate a little bit more. Like it just seems to me that City are a little bit more willing to just throw ungodly amounts of money at players, and if it works, it works. If not, it doesn't. Like, do you really think Jack Grealish was worth £100 million? I don't. I don't think he was worth them spending that kind of money.
I think Jack Grealish probably was worth £100 million, but the way that they use him is not £100 million. I mean, they needed a forward, right? They needed Harry Kane. They decided not to spend the money on him, so they went and just got the next big thing in England, which was Jack Grealish, and they just don't play him. I mean, I think Jack Grealish is a brilliant player, but if you're not going to play him, why is he there? It's strange. He comes on for 10 minutes today, and that's a guy he was boss in the Premier League last season, in an Aston Villa team that was very average, and he was just every game he was must watch TV, and now to see him on the sidelines is a shame.
Yeah. Are they going to is City going to end up signing Holland next year? Because they said something about it on, you're not obviously watching NBC Sports like I am, but the NBC Sports crew said something about Holland being on the end of those crosses next year. Like that just terrifies me.
Yeah, I mean, if they get Haaland, there will be no. I mean, they will win the league clearly next season. I will not even really be all that close, to be honest. I mean, phenomenal player. I think he'll adjust perfectly to the league. It suits him perfectly. I think that would be an incredible signing for them. And yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, me saying about Tottenham will challenge. We would not challenge if they get a proper forward. Yeah, if they get a proper forward, it's over. Like, to be honest, because their team is pretty much perfect minus the goals at the moment.
Minus a striker. And it's kind of crazy. They've got the table up. They've scored 72 goals in 31 games. So 2 goals a game, give or take, or a little over 2 goals a game for the course of the entire season so far. And that's like you said, without a proper number 9. So they get
Yeah, I
him.
mean,
It could be chops for everybody else. I've got to say, it's been nice to actually have. Last year, we didn't really have much of a title race because Liverpool had the injuries. No one else really came close to City, but it is nice to actually have a title race this year and a compelling top 4 race with Tottenham and Arsenal, and then even the relegation battle is going to be quite interesting to see, because it would be crazy.
yes,
It would be
super
crazy to
entertaining.
see
Yeah.
if Everton were to drop, but after beating United yesterday, I think they should be in good hands.
Yeah, the results kind of went their way yesterday. I mean, it was all looking very bad for them. When they lost in the midweek to Burnley, it was looking like, okay, Everton might actually go down, which would have just been unheard of scenes. But yeah, I mean, they got that result against United, and then Burnley today losing to Norwich. That I think it's going to be very hard for Burnley to come back from that. That should have been the game that they won, and they kept pace, but. I mean, Everton, they're going to be feeling themselves a bit after that United win. I think Everton will stay up now. I'm pretty sure of that.
It seems to be the case. Um, shoot, man, I think that's pretty much all I have for you today. So didn't want to keep you on for too long. I've got some things to do the rest of the day. So we'll go ahead and cut it out here. I genuinely appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come on and chat with me for a little bit. Do you have any plans of trying to make it to Qatar to go to a World Cup game?
I mean, hopefully, like that's the hope of going to Qatar. I it should happen, but I don't know. Things can happen. I don't know when my next USA game will be. Because we got the friendlies and everything against I think Uruguay,
Mm-hmm.
which would be cool. Um, but I don't know. It depends the cities. Living in Ireland and everything, it could be a bit tricky. And then the Nations League game, I was hoping to not get El Salvador because I did love going to El Salvador, but just to go back there again it would be such a quick turnaround. I was hoping to get like Honduras or Suriname or something somewhere mad, but it didn't happen. So yeah, definitely hoping to go to the World Cup and that be kind of my next USA game.
Nice, man. Well, if it happens, I'm going to be living vicariously through you on
Yeah,
YouTube because it's not in the cards for me to go to Qatar in the fall. But I'm
yeah, man.
definitely in 4 years. I'm gonna be going to some of those games here in the
It's
states.
gonna be it's gonna be brilliant. 48 teams, so gonna be even more games than usual, and it's just gonna be fantastic. Hopefully, I really liked Cincinnati, so hopefully Cincinnati does end up being one of the host cities. Be really good for yourself, being right by it. But yeah, I mean, it'll be fantastic. It'll be a spectacle either way. It'll be a show. I mean, no one puts on a better show than the USA. So
Amen, brother. All right, so guys, one more time. This was Ryan Edward Fortune. You can find him on YouTube at Ryan Edward Fortune. Like I said, he's got a great YouTube channel. Puts together some really good videos, very entertaining. My favorite one that you've put out was the Canada one. I've not gotten to watch either of the two newest ones as of yet, but I'm going to make time later in the day to get to
yeah,
those.
good man. Get watching that. Get them views up.
Also, if you got Twitter, give him a follow on Twitter. You mind me throwing your Twitter out here?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
It's at one Ryan Fortune. Pretty simple, pretty easy to find. Um, Class guy. Had a lot of fun talking to you, and hopefully one of these days we can meet in person and
Yeah,
get a
I
beer or
would
something, brother.
Yeah, I would love that. Nothing more. I think you're onto something good here. That's why I was like, what, I'm gonna come on because in a year's time, 2 years time, I'm gonna be like, yo, I was on Footy Foster's, like I was on like one of his first podcasts, bro. And they're gonna be like, oh wow, that's insane. So, yeah, a lot of time for you, man. Really appreciate your support for the channel and have me on.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's episode. Crazy to think this is already the fourth episode, so it means I've been doing this for about a month, give or take. I really hope you enjoyed my bit, but also the interview with Ryan. Um, Probably could have made that a little bit longer, but I do I want to be mindful of your guys' time as well as mine and his. So we kept it relatively short today, but I had a lot of fun speaking with Ryan. First time we've actually interacted like face to face, even though it was just through Zoom. Very interesting guy. Give him a follow on Twitter and subscribe to his YouTube channel. His YouTube channel is phenomenal. I love watching his videos. Actually, if you can see right there, there we go. I was just watching one of his videos before I took a break to put the podcast together and put it on, get it uploaded to Anchor and to YouTube. So his videos are fantastic. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. And again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time out of your day to watch or listen, whichever you did. It really means the world to me. So looking forward to getting the next episode. Not sure who I'm going to have on at as of now. I typically don't figure that out until a little bit later in the week, but we'll figure it out. We'll get it out next week, hopefully, if not the following week. So again, thank you guys, and I'll catch you next time. Peace and love.